So we have a very special guest with us today, and it's none other than former reggae boy, and that is Damien Francis. Firstly, Damien, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. How are you? How's the family?
Thank you for having me. No, family blessed. I'm blessed. It's all good. Good to be here speaking with you.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Great to be able to catch up with you. Firstly, before we get really into the meat of the matter, tell us firstly, because some viewers can be aware as well, a bit of your background. Was it your parents or grandparents that were born on the island?
Both of my grandparents are born on the island. Yeah, both of them. My dad's side and my mum's side. My dad's side are from Clarendon. My grandma was born in Orange. In Orange, yeah. So when I was growing up, I spent many weeks, like from the age of 4. We would fly over for the for 6 week holidays. I'd be ramping with my cousins in the bush, no bare feet, trying to walk around bare feet, but my feet were a bit too soft, so I had to put my trainers back on. But it was really good times with me and my cousins ramping just living that free Jamaican life. It was incredible.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's amazing. And growing up in England, would you say you grew up with a Jamaican culture, an English culture, or a mixture of both?
I'd say probably a mixture of both, but from a very early age, as I said, both of my sides of my family from Jamaica. So I grew up feeling like I was Jamaican and British anyway, because as I said, I spent a lot of time in Jamaica from a very young age, So even though I lived in London, England, I still had that, I knew where I was from for sure.
Yeah, fully understand what you mean there. When it came to stuff like primary school, would you say that was your first introduction to football? Did you play other sports as well growing up?
Football has always been my first love. From a very young age, that was the thing that sort of made me smile. I mean, a football, kicking it around the house, playing with my friends. I've always been a sporty person anyway. So other sports I used to play in school as well. I've always been sort of a natural sporty person. Do you know what I mean? But football was 100% number one.
Yeah, okay. Sounds good. And would you say growing up a lot of people remember your time from Wimbledon. Would you say that was like your hometown club, your boyhood club? Was Wimbledon that club that you supported as a kid?
100%. Yeah, Wimbledon was a club that first I supported because I lived like not around the corner, but maybe 20 minutes from the ground. So me and my friends at the time, that was our local team. So apart from playing football, that was my club that I went to watch from a young age as well. And then when I got scouted when I was 9, and it was Wimbledon, it was a dream come true. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it was really good memories from obviously my hometown club, playing for them all the way through until 23.
Yeah, I mean, we know you as a midfielder, but whether when you're in academy or just introduced into football, did you play other positions as well on the pitch?
Centre back, I played there when I was growing up, but it sort of pushed me forward because they knew that I could do more than just play out from the back, or yeah, there's more to my game, so I sort of moved a bit forward, and I like to get forward and score goals and defend as well. Hence the reason why I was sort of a box to box midfielder throughout my career.
But I'm sure at that stage it was a little bit of a transition because, as you know, when you enter midfield, it's quite high traffic. You have to be quicker to make a pass or a decision compared to centre back with a little bit more time on the ball.
Yeah, but I was sort of can I say, like, all action. I like all action. I like to be in the engine room. You know what I mean? Breaking play up, tackling, heading, getting forward, getting back. So it sort of suited me more to be in the thick of things in midfield.
Okay, sounds good. So, I mean, I remember the first season that you had at Wimbledon as well. I think it was 97, 98 as well. Just breaking through when you were in the periphery of things. Robbie Earl, Marcus Gale was there. I mean, yourself, Jason, you were training with the first team as well. And, that was the year that Jamaica was at the World Cup. What was it like being in the same dressing room, mingling with Robbie Earl, Marcus Gale and company?
Oh, it's amazing. I looked up to them guys, and I still do. But at the time, coming through as a youngster, obviously I aspired to be in the first team like them, you know, and then seeing that they went to the World Cup with Jamaica and Robbie Earl scoring the first goal for Jamaica, and him being, you know, he was my sort of mentor without actually being my mentor, if you know what I mean. I used to watch him, everything he did, everything he done, you know, when it comes to looking after himself, training, you know, and he was a midfielder, of course. So I sort of took pointers from him along the way, which helped me when I broke into the first team when he, you know, moved on.
Okay, that's brilliant. During that period of time, did you ever have conversations with any of the players, whether it's Jason or Robbie or Marcus, anything about Jamaica? Because of course you guys have Jamaican heritage and have grown up, you know, with the Jamaican culture. Any conversation at all about Jamaica or even playing for Jamaica, sharing their experiences about playing for the Reggae Boyz?
Yeah, Marcus Gale used to talk about you know, all the banter that used to go on playing for Jamaica. Robbie are the same, you know, and of course I identified with that because that's where I'm from, and we used to share stories and but not only that, just, you know, just talking about Jamaica along the way as well, because we all had that in common, you know. There was another player as well, Andy Clark as well. He was from Jamaica as well, so you know, he would speak back to at the training ground, they have jokes and that, you know what I mean. So nah, it was always a good vibe when we're speaking about Jamaica for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you spoke about the pride and joy about wearing the Wimbledon shirt, playing top flight football for the club, you playing more first team appearances for the club, and then a little further on, a little kid called Joby McAnuff comes into the fore, Lionel Morgan.
Yeah.
So you can talk about the experiences you had with them as well. Joby McAnuff, who went on to even captain the Reggae Boyz as well, and had a good journey in terms of playing professional football.
Yeah, first I spoke to speak about Joby. Yeah, an incredible career. And yeah, he's like a year, I think he's a year younger than me, maybe two maximum, but we're close, you know what I mean? So he came through the ranks, and very, very, first and foremost, he's a top guy, like really, really nice guy, and a talented footballer, you know. And it was fantastic to see him have the career that he had. I played with him obviously at Wimbledon, and then he came to Watford when I was there as well for a little bit. So yeah, no, Joby was a pleasure to play with, and as I say, he's an extremely nice person also. Lionel Morgan. A lot of people probably won't know about who he is, but when him and Joby are very close, and he was probably the best player I've played with in my career without actually nobody knowing about him. Like,
Wow.
and I've played with hundreds of, you know, players throughout my career, but I can categorically say that, you know, he was definitely, he was the real deal. Do you know what I mean? And it's such a shame that the world didn't get to see his talents, because he was special already, but he would have been like, you know, at the top clubs, like guaranteed. That's all I gotta say. Mm. And
Wow.
he's a very, very nice guy as well, focused, you know what I mean? So to see that first time that he didn't make it was just, you know, heartbreaking to me, let alone obviously for him, do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, that's football, right?
Yeah, it's it's something I tell, like, I think he was maybe 21 or 22 before the injury that happened to him. But wow, just the words that you say, because yeah, of course, coming through the academy is special, but to hear
Yeah.
the kind of words, that's amazing, fantastic. Wow. I mean, you know, about Wimbledon generally from the outside, the first thing that comes to many people's mind is the passionate support, hardworking players, you know,
Yeah.
local club with a lot of, you know, discipline and the progression. When you saw how everything was sort of unfolding 2003, 2004, what was going through sort of your mindset? Of course, ownership changes, you know, the rules about having, you know, safe seating and everything that was happening during that period of time to where it is today, right now. Yep, redeveloped, yes, League Two, but the roots in a sense never died for Wimbledon in a sense.
Yeah, exactly. For me, up close and personal, when it comes to the club sort of deteriorating at the time through finances, etc., was obviously heartbreaking, because it was my hometown club. I was playing in the first team. You know, I didn't envision even leaving for a very, very long time. Do you know what I mean? It's like that. But yeah, but now of course it's come full circle. Now that the stadium's reinstated, right next to the old Plough Lane now. So no, it's come a long way back round, and it's great to see the club, thriving, and hopefully they can be back in the Premier League one day. Who knows?
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, definitely one step at a time. I heard you on another program quite recently, Talk Norwich City, and you're talking a story about potentially you could have ended up at Stoke, but you ended up in East Anglia. How did that sort of panned out? Because quite a bit of Jamaicans have ended up at Stoke, but the story went you end up at Norwich. So how did that journey happen for you?
Yeah, it's a funny one. Football's a funny game. Do you know what I mean? You can get calls out the blue from all different corners, managers popping up. So at the time when Wimbledon were selling everybody, I was obviously one of them players that they had to sell. So Stoke were one of the clubs that called. So I went up to see them, and everything was sort of agreed with myself, my agent. My agent is Jamaican too at the time. He was Jamaican. We're still friends now. Yeah, everything was agreed. And they went back on the deal almost, without going into loads of details, but it was agreed over the phone. When we got up there, it was something else. So ended up driving back to London. Stoke weren't very happy about it, but I said I need 24 hours to think about it because the deal had changed. And on that drive back, Norwich, the Norwich manager at the time, Nigel Worthington, called my agent while we were in the car and asked us to come up to Norwich, the next day. So yeah, ended up driving up to Norwich the next day, and the rest is sort of history, as they say. I landed at Norwich the next day, and I was really impressed with the whole surroundings, and I knew I would improve as a player as well. That's very important for me, to improve myself, and I could see by the facilities they had there, the setup, I was going to thrive.
Yeah, that's quite a story. As you said, life is so unpredictable, and opportunities over time just pop up just like that, So it's quite a riveting sort of story. And in that time frame, 2003 came around, and then here you are, called up for the Reggae Boyz. Do you remember that story? If it was a call on your mobile, if it was an email, remember that story of how you got that call?
You know what it was? It was a fax.
No.
Maybe nobody listeners really or watchers really know about the fact, but previously it was if you used to fax, right? Fax through items like that. People who don't know what a fax machine is a piece of paper that used to come through. So yeah, I remember Norwich received a fax from the federation, and then explained to me that I got called up, because I was very, very proud. Told my whole, told the family. They were extremely excited about that, and yeah, and I loved it. And in fact, for the game that I did play, my mum and my grandma came there to Jamaica and flew out there for that game in Kingston, and my agent as well, Tony Finnegan at the time, he flew out too. So it was great to see them witness that game as well. And I still got my debut shirt from that day, so it was amazing. The vibe and the electricity in the stadium was just, I never really experienced that, to be honest with you. Do you know what I mean? It was mad.
Yeah, just to catch up the viewers, it was against America 2003, 20 years ago. Can you imagine time has gone by so fast?
Wow, very fast, too fast. Yeah, I mean, I did get called up again a few times, but what people don't understand is the reason why I only had one cap is because at the time, when I was in the thick of the season with Norwich at the time, we were having a lot of games, and it was a packed season. So the manager at the time said to me that, without saying it, but saying it, said, like, if I went, then my place at the club would be sort of jeopardized. You know what I mean? Which is a bit naughty, but I made the call to sort of have to stay at the club at that time. But looking back, I really wish I would have just, not listened basically and play for Jamaica a few more times. But you have to make them calls at the time.
Yeah, I understand. It's sad that clubs do that, but yeah, once it's a FIFA window, it shouldn't be a problem. But I fully get the points that you're making there. Just want to dwell on that debut a little bit more. Remember, it was like a sea of gold and yellow in the National Stadium with the fans in support. And you remember the brilliant goal that Anandi Lowe scored as well, the free kick as well. And you coming on with 20 minutes to go. Do you remember at least those little moments, despite the results not going our way that day?
I remember the whole day, not the little moments. I remember the whole day. I was just soaking up all of the atmosphere, and just wanted to get on as soon as possible. When I did get on, it was incredible to actually step onto the pitch for Jamaica, playing in Kingston, and the fans going crazy. I remember I done got the ball played to me, and I sort of turned out with my left foot and pinged out a ball on my left foot. I remember it like it's yesterday, but the crowd sort of reacted to it. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was like a nice little move. Do you know what I mean? And the crowd sort of went like, woohoo! And I was like, I just felt that buzz.
Yeah. To this day, it's the same sort of atmosphere, like when Jamal Campbell-Rice is on the ball and did something similar, it's like ball or whoa, it's the same sort of atmosphere. So I understand what you mean there. Very passionate, love the football, love the country. A moment that I'm sure you'll never forget. And to keep the shirt as well, amazing to have that. You can frame that up as well. The time at Watford now, you ran into Marlon King, Adrian Mariappa, Lloyd Doyley, Joel Grant, Lee Williamson, Theo Robinson. It was Watford were on the up and up, championship team settled and eventually, got promoted to the Premier League. But it felt like something was building there and you were part of that journey. And you had these young kids coming through as well. Opportunities were being given. How would you summarize Watford and that journey you had there?
Yeah, I arrived at Watford when they went up to the Premier League. I left Wigan at the time and joined a really great bunch of players. The squad was really good, and as you say, littered with Jamaican international, future internationals. So now it was a really good time there.
Yeah, and when you see the journeys that they had as well, going on to play international football, Mariappa still playing at 36, going on 37. I guess it doesn't surprise you because you saw these guys week in, week out in training and so on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Maps. I'm really happy for Maps to as you said, still be playing at a really, really good level. He looks after himself and always been a top professional too. So I'm not surprised that he's still playing. He's very fit. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Fit player. Yeah, very, very fit player. And I know he look after himself.
Yeah, most definitely. And, Chris Powell wasn't there quite long at Watford, but I mean, we saw the experiences that he has in terms of punditry and coaching as well, getting the opportunity for England as well. But I'm sure you could tell his mind and his analytical and tactical mind from even that point in time, his knowledge of the game, etc.
Yeah. Chris has always been, he's always been a thinker of the game. He's obviously a vastly experienced person as well. And likable person as well, and always learning, and his knowledge of the game was always very, very evident. So no surprise to see him sort of, being involved with England and all the coaching that he's doing at Tottenham, isn't it? Yeah, at Tottenham. So now it's no surprise to see him doing very well for himself. Yeah, and happy to see that as well.
Yeah, and Damien, a lot of people have been asking nowadays, what's Damien up to? Is he involved in coaching, punditry? Is he involved in business? What's Damien up to nowadays?
Yeah, I'm doing agency work, so looking after players, also myself, and I work with other companies as well. But I'm an independent myself.
Yeah,
but more. Sorry.
Go ahead. I was saying, okay, so you can proceed. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's still involved in the game. It never leaves you, when you're been playing for so long. It's just like the passion's still fire inside you. You know what I mean? When it comes to football. So now it's still nice to be involved in the game.
And to the best of your knowledge, I mean, the players that you work with from that standpoint, do you know if any of them have any sort of Jamaican heritage through parents or grandparents or players you work with or come across with in terms of your agency?
When I do, I'm going to direct them straight to the team. But no, currently no. Have done, but currently at this moment in time, no. But as soon as I do have, which I will have, I'm going to obviously encourage them to represent their country.
Yeah, so Damien, the journey that you had, after Wigan, you went on to Watford and you came across, a lot of young talent coming through as well with Jamaican heritage. The Marlon Kings, the Mariappas, the Lloyd Doyleys, Joel Grant, Lee Williamson, Theo Robinson as well. Tell me about the time that you had at Watford as well in terms of your playing career and, how much you enjoyed the time at Watford.
Yeah, when I came to Watford, it was as you said, there's a lot of talent there, from younger to experienced players. The Jamaica side as well, as you said, there's many that represented Jamaica that played for Watford, including myself. And I enjoyed myself thoroughly there, even though we did go down that first Premier League season. But no, it was a good a lot of talent there at the time.
Right. Yeah, and I mean some of these players are still playing to this very day. Like Maps is 36 going on 37, still a leader in part of the leadership group for Jamaica, and has captained Jamaica as well. I guess it was no surprise to see the journey he's taken as well in football.
Yeah, no surprise at all. I knew Maps when I was at Watford. He's quite a few years younger than me, but only quite a few years younger than you, but really nice boy. And man, should I say, sorry. And yeah, he's had a fantastic career, and representing Jamaica many times, and still going strong, and as I said, it's no surprise to me that he's gone on to have a long career, because he's always very talented.
Yeah, and one player that was at the club for some time as well, not a long time, but for a season, Chris Powell. We know the work that he has done in terms of a coaching aspect of things. Your thought about Chris and his journey as well?
Yeah, Chris Powley is a top man, Powley, and extremely knowledgeable about the game. Even from then, he was, you could see that he was destined to sort of be in the hierarchy of the football world, and to see him involved in England, and now he's coaching at Spurs, I believe, and it's no surprise to see, and it's really nice to see him doing so well.
Yeah. Nowadays, Damien, when you watch the Premier League and you see players like Leon Bailey at Aston Villa or Mikel Antonio at West Ham, see many Jamaicans are on the Premier League. How does that make you feel, and seeing them do so well, contributing to their team and the successes that they have?
Very proud, very proud that Jamaica's not it's a small island, isn't it? But such massive impact on the whole world, So to see them, players like, as you say, Leon Bailey and Antonio, doing so well in the Premier League, it's all I can say is very proud, and it's nice to see. Really nice to see.
I know the time difference between Jamaica and England is 5-6 hours, depending on the time frame. But do you still get a chance to watch some of the games for the national team, the Reggae Boyz, or even watch highlights on YouTube to see how they're doing, and the national team by extension?
From time to time, yeah. From time to time, you don't get loads of matches on TV from Jamaica, but yeah, on the internet, I try and keep up on how the national team are going, and I need to do some more. To be fair, more watching of the national team, but yeah, I hope to be in Jamaica this year anyway with my family, so hopefully you can hook me up with some tickets to go to a game.
Yeah, no worries at all there. And finally, Damien, you spoke about the work in terms of doing the agent work. Is that something long term you see yourself part of, or do you still want to get more involved, whether it might be coaching, whether it might be punditry, or another aspect of the game?
You never know. You never know. I'm always first. What doesn't change is my passion for football. So in all aspects of football, I love. I'm like an analyst when it comes to watching games, and I record games all the time and watch them back and back and back. And it's just a habit I've had since I was a very young boy. I used to record on my VHS at home, and then watch those videos back, to see what the player did and whatever else. So to answer your question, yeah, you never know where life takes you, but ultimately it's where I want to work for the rest of my life, for sure.